How are y'all this morning? Morning. Well, welcome back, everyone. For those of you who haven't met me, and I see a few familiar faces in the room today, my name is Joey Gaskins. I am the Regional Director of Public Affairs for the Bahamas and the Caribbean for Disney Cruise Line. How amazing was yesterday's visit at Disney Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point? Let's give the team a round of applause. Incredible. We are absolutely thrilled that you were able to experience and get a first look at our new island destination at Disney Cruise Line. Now that you've been able to preview Disney Lookout Cay firsthand, we have a special treat for you today. A behind-the-scenes look at what went into this one-of-a-kind destination directly from some of the creative minds who are responsible for this incredible project. This amazing group with us today that you see up here with me played a major role in bringing Disney Lookout Cay to life, and they have so much passion for our new destination, a passion which I hope you felt yesterday as you experienced the island. It has vibrant Bahamian culture and unforgettable natural beauty, and so I want to welcome these folks today to talk a little bit about how much this project has meant to them, and why it is so important, and what it means for our Disney Cruise Line family. All right? So I'll do introductions, and we'll start with Rachel, who is right next to me. Rachel is Vice President for Entertainment Operations for Disney Cruise Line, responsible for onboard entertainment operations, youth activities, adult and family entertainment, and port adventures. Let's give Rachel a round of applause. We have Kevin Thomas. Kevin is a Senior Creative Director for Walt Disney Imagineering. Kevin and a team of Disney Imagineers work closely with local Bahamian community members, artists, musicians, and historians to create this destination that celebrates the Bahamas. Thank you, Kevin. We have Bradley Watson. As a Conservation Programs Manager, Bradley leads the implementation of Disney Cruise Line's environmental management plan and local conservation strategies within the Bahamas. Let's give Bradley a hand as well. Kevin Cooper from Eleuthera. Kevin is an artist that expresses the grace of Bahamian culture from the perspective of a born and raised Eleutherans. Landscapes, seascapes, and portraits suffused with incredible light in Eleuthera are the inspiration for his creativity. Let's give Kevin a round of applause. We also have Bahamian artist Dorman Stubbs with us. Dorman began drawing at an early age, inspired by scenes of downtown markets where his parents worked as fruit vendors. Drawn to a bright palette, his lush paintings of Bahamian landscapes and seascapes adorn several buildings across Disney Lookout Cay. So if you've seen those very colorful murals that wave across the buildings, that is Dorman's work. Let's give Dorman a round of applause. We also have Andrew Pinder, or Warren Andrew Pinder. He serves as the co-chair of the National Junkanoo Committee. The NJC has been instrumental in the creation of Junkanoo entertainment offerings at Disney Lookout Cay. So that amazing Junkanoo experience you had yesterday, Andrew and team were very, very instrumental in making that possible for us. So let's give Andrew that. And finally, Victor Johnson. Victor is recognized as one of the Bahamas' top 48 millennials. He has dedicated his life to inspiring the world through music and creating opportunities for others to do the same. He's worked closely with our teams to produce music for Disney Lookout Cay, and so that background music you were hearing, some of the amazing Disney classics remixed with the Bahamian flair, that is Victor's work. Okay, so let's dive right into it with Rachel right next to me. As a Bahamian, I was really moved yesterday, right? Seeing our Disney Cruise Line guests get to experience Junkanoo at Disney Lookout Cay. It was emotional for me and a number of our Bahamian cast members. Can you tell us how Disney worked to showcase this treasured Bahamian tradition at Disney Lookout Cay?
We were all very moved yesterday as well, and it's a culmination of a lot of work. We had an entire team dedicated to understanding what is Junkanoo, what does it mean to the locals, what does it mean to the Bahamian culture? And you know, the word authenticity is used a lot, but this was our North Star. And we had an entire team that worked with Andrew and the National Junkanoo Committee to teach us what does Junkanoo mean. If we were going to tell this story and bring it to our guests, we needed to do it right. And so really they led us and our creative team, and then we were like, how do we add a little bit of Disney into this, right? Like we do. So hopefully you saw our characters in those amazing Lookout Cay overlays that Bahamian designer Theo Elliott designed for us as well, right? And again, it's going back to making sure we are really putting a spotlight on the beautiful Bahamian culture and the amazing talent and rich heritage that is there. So we, obviously you saw Junkanoo, it was a lot of fun, and just the bright colors, which I've decided everybody else on the panel is representing the beautiful water. Clearly I'm in Junkanoo colors this morning. I didn't get the memo about the beautiful, cool town, so I'm representing Junkanoo, what can I tell you? But you know, you could hear the music, the whistles, the drums, you could hear it coming, and even if you were not aware of Junkanoo or something was happening yesterday, you was like, wait, what is that? Right? It makes you curious, it makes you want to get up. And then, did anybody in this room not start dancing when you heard it? I mean, it's joyous, and I think it was just a beautiful way to continue all the great work from Imagineering on telling the Bahamian story. So we had Junkanoo, we had an amazing workshop again, where our guests could make their own Junkanoo headpieces to be, again, part of this rich, beautiful parade that was about to come their way. So again, we have a school teacher from, I believe, Eleuthera, that was Michelle. Yeah, Michelle was teaching the crafts, and our guests, you all, were so engrossed in it. We were not sure we'd be able to start Junkanoo on time because it was so popular. But it was special, right? And there's touches all the way along the entertainment story in Disney's Lookout Cay, just to, again, support and be authentic to the Bahamian culture.
Yeah, I think that's really beautiful. One of the things as a Bahamian that we recognize is that people love Junkanoo. What they usually see is after you get out of what we call the shack, right? The big parade, the performance. And I think what's really interesting about what we're offering at Disney Lookout Cay is an opportunity for our guests to learn about the history of Junkanoo, the craftsmanship of it, which is quite incredible. So Andrew, I think this is a good segue here. Talk a little bit about how you collaborated with Disney Cruise Line to ensure that we had an offering that was true to your understanding of Junkanoo and what the National Junkanoo Committee represents.
We, for the last 2 years, we've been working with a team from Disney, headed by Joey. And one of the most important thing that we stressed, as she said, was the authenticity. Junkanoo is a celebration of our tradition, our culture. It's colorful, it's expressed through music, dance, a vibrancy led by the beat that we really cherish. And in speaking with Disney, it was something that they really listened to what we were advising them on. They got it right. Yesterday I was extremely satisfied and happy to see the presentation that was there for the guests at Lookout Cay. Junkanoo, and when we traveled, we talked with Disney over and over. They came back and they asked, they came and they actually went to parades with us. We were able to get them in, like right into the fire. They down to how does the drums heat it, right? One trip we took them, they actually saw a live parade on Bay Street. As some of you may not know, Junkanoo is really our celebration, and it's held on Boxing Day, 25th of December, and New Year's. But we had an off-parade Independence last year, where the team came and they sat, and I was able to get them to sit on the ground, so the drums were like in their air, and they were like really, you know, they felt it, and they were, is this it? How are we going to, you know, present this at Lookout Cay? So it was something that I am extremely proud to know that the millions of persons that will visit Lookout Cay will be able to get a taste of our Bahamian culture. And that is what the National Jumping Committee has been stressing all along in this process.
Yeah. That's incredible. I was there with the entertainment team. My job was to facilitate that connection, but you know, Denise and Chris and TJ from the entertainment team really took the ideas of what the NJC was kind of imparting to them and translated it for this experience. I was on the ground with them at 50th Independence in Rawson Square, and they really fell into the parade. They became a part of it, and I think you see that commitment to telling the story of jumping in the experience. Thank you for that, Andrew. That was quite moving. I want to talk a little bit about the design of Disney Lookout Cay. So much of the destination is really about enhancing and featuring the natural beauty of the site. Kevin Thomas, what were some of Walt Disney Imagineering's key design principles here? How did you approach this project?
Thanks, Joey. So yeah, it was very important for us as Imagineers from the very beginning of this project to make sure that we were celebrating the Bahamian culture and the natural environment that we were working within. I think that we've been very much able to achieve that, what we sought out to do from the very beginning, and I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish. But to give an example of one of the things that we tried to do there is, you know, it's such natural beauty, and the architecture is obviously pretty distinctive we have right here, and the reason for that was that we wanted to have minimum impact to this natural environment. So we took nature as our inspiration. So the shapes of the buildings, the color schemes that were used, everything was influenced by nature. The patterns that you see on the tops of these buildings are patterns and colors from seashells along the Bahamian seashores. When you get underneath it is when you start to feel more of that, the way man has touched it, and we have some of our Bahamian artistry that's been implemented into these areas. But with the elevated pathways that we have, again, a way of minimizing our impact to this natural environment, but making it accessible to all of the areas that our guests need to access for everyone there. I'm really excited to see how we've been able to integrate not only junking, which we know is very integral to you know, the Bahamian experience, but also in other ways too. You know, music, the background music that you hear. We actually had a song that was composed specifically for this environment. You know, everything cool, and you know, it's just one of those things. I wake up in the morning and I'm humming it. You know, I just love it that much. But you know, through a number of things, the costumes, the colors, and everything. I think that we've really been able to try and embrace what we sought out to achieve from the very beginning.
Yeah. And that sustainability, Bradley, has been important throughout the construction, but also will continue to the operation of Disney Lookout Cay. We've had an ongoing commitment to protecting and sustaining the natural beauty of the Bahamas. Can you tell us about that and what Disney Cruise Line is doing for the incredible environment in Eleuthera that our guests get to experience?
For sure. You know, the first time I went to Lookout Cay, it was in 2008, and you know, Eleuthera has been my gateway to understanding the environment and being a conservationist, and it really helped me to understand what it meant for me to be a Bahamian, you know? And so I'm really excited that Lookout Cay is now a gateway for so many other people to understand what it's like to be a Bahamian. And I really like the idea of developing a sense of place, right? And so, you know, from you're getting onto Lookout Cay and you're disembarking from the boat, and you look at that beautiful island and you really understand where you are. And you get to walk down this beautiful trestle pier, and you see the beautiful water at the left and the right of you. And then you arrive in this habitat that, you know, to many people is very different, you know? And the differences are what I find to be the most beautiful. We have these beautiful native landscapes that we did so much to keep intact that, you know, I'm just excited to show them off. And my job really is to protect them. And I'm thinking that we do a really good job of that. And so when I look at our site and I look at, you know, the boardwalks that we made so that we don't have a direct impact on the native vegetation, but at the same time, we get to see it all. We get to take it all in. We get to understand what it's like to be in the Bahamas, and, you know, what environments have formed the ideas and, you know, the culture that we benefit from. And I think that is one of the most beautiful things. And, you know, one of the most enriching things that's happened recently is that, you know, we're working with local vendors to develop tour operations and tour opportunities for our guests. And so we're joining this culture of Bahamian connections to the environment with our guest experiences, and I get to kind of curate that and make sure that we do everything we can to highlight the beauty of our site. So I'm just really excited about this.
Yeah, I mean, we've created a site that is low impact to the environment. We've maintained at least 16% development on site. We've been really working to minimize that impact at Disney Lookout Cay, and I think that that's really important.
Yeah, I think actually one of the best things that we did is everything we didn't do, right? So we're at less than 16% of the site.
Yeah.
It's perfect in my opinion.
I think that's a great way to encapsulate it. Kevin, Cooper, right?
Where is he?
Yeah, right here. Kevin, you're one of several artists that collaborated closely with Walt Disney Imagineering to bring this destination to life from very early on. Some of your artwork is featured at Disney Lookout Cay. Can you talk to us a little bit about your experience working with Imagineering to implement your art, to get your art there on site, and what that has been like?
Yeah. Excuse me. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, it's been, a tremendous experience. I've been here for conception, as Bradley said. As we say in the Bahamas, we say the bush, when nothing was there. So, as well as Kevin said, Thomas says, in terms of creating, everything has been from the ocean and land, and we culminated it to actually present and create everything that you've seen. But what has been challenging is finding the artist that has the temperament to express themselves, to present what we have today. And to my left, we have Dorman. I've known Dorman for over 30 years. And it's just amazing how he has been able to express his feelings and emotions into it. And as well as Keisha is here somewhere. It's just a wonderful experience. And those who aren't, you can't leave anyone out. Imogen, the camps, it's just been, and Andrea John, who's done, if you look around, you see the sculptures on the doors. He's done an amazing job. I mean, it's just bar none, great quality. As for myself, if you look into Cabanas, there are 4 paintings that I've done of the Cathedral Cave, which I named, by the way. When I was a younger man, I would go to the Cathedral Cave and for inspiration. And it's just been overwhelming to see it, as well as the Queen's Bath. That's another space. I would go and have a 6-pack of Kalik occasionally. Who don't know what Kalik is a bear, a Bahamian brand. For inspiration, and all of those points. All of those points are the places where I would go and just sit and enjoy Eleuthera, as well as the Glass on the Bridge. Actually, Winslow Homer, those who know the watercolors, back in 1800s, I'm sure Norman knows him exceptionally well, because we've all been inspired by his work. And matter of fact, he painted it when it was together by Mother Nature, the bridge in Eleuthera. And so it was an awesome experience to try and replicate that scene. It's just been an amazing experience. The Lookout Cay watercolors that you see, oils, that culminates the view looking down the beach. It's just been an experience too, because I'm a plain painter, working on location and trying to express and feel what I see. And what has been so inspiring is the immediacy of it. When you work on location, there's a different feel from working from a photograph. And just to be there to enjoy the scenery has been a wonderful experience. And so what you've seen is a combination of artists who've done, I think, the level best to bring it to fruition today. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And again, your work you can see in the cabanas,
Absolutely.
but also there are lithographs at merchandise stores as well for guests to pick up.
Precisely.
So, yeah, great. And Dorman, how about you? Your murals bring so much color and joy to the site. I mean, it really is kind of magical the way that everywhere you turn, you have these vibrant colors that carry through consistently throughout the property. Talk to us a little bit about what your inspiration was and what it was like to collaborate with Disney.
Good morning, everyone. My style is impressionist, so I always have been inspired by nature. So when I have a task to complete for myself, I usually walk around the ocean. I would find places in the community that has certain aspiration of the people, how they live, what they do, how they move through the community, looking for plants that showed colors, like the poinciana tree, the bougainvilleas, or other plants that are very common in the tropics. And having that exposure to the natural environment, I would always find myself examining closely what inspires the viewer. And I always think about the 5 senses that we have and try to engage the 5 senses. And I think, using that approach as my creative or imagination or creative imagination, and trying to engage those 5 senses always get me on the right path. I'm very sensitive. Always want to appeal to what you're feeling, what you're thinking, how you would respond to whether it's a conversation or how you respond to what you're viewing. And I always want to bring a sort of like a connection, a line that brings you what you're tasting. When you look at color, what are you tasting? Or when you hear music, what color do you see? What color are you feeling? When you want to touch something, what is the texture of it? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it brings a sensation of, does it titillate your mind or your heart to feel a certain way, to act a certain way? Does it bring relaxation, or does it make you anxious? So oftentimes when I am examining my environment, I always want to have always a symphony going on in my paintings. And when the Disney approached me about the project, which I found out through my good friend here, Kevin, and I went to try out or to speak with them as to where they wanted to go and what they were looking for. I was given a script, and the script was to focus on fish, a fish. So right away I understood the concept that it was about the marine life, and to focus on the fish skin. And my first thought was, well, if I'm going to focus on the fish skin, then all I'm going to see is on a large scale. So beyond that, I started to examine closely our marine life and what is most common, what would the visitor would experience when they swim or when they snorkel. What kind of colors would they experience? Patterns, design, and I found a few. Well, there are many fish out there that can represent a mirage of color schemes, array of texture of colors and light. But I focus on 3 principal fish, and that's the angelfish, which is very common around here, the turbot, which is very common as well, the grouper, which is what you call it, a very popular meal to have, but it has what's called patterns, very simple patterns that echoes throughout in our natural environment. Patterns that are moving in and out, juxtaposition, especially the turbot. The turbot has some blues, yellows, green, and depending on the environment that they're in, the colors are very luminous, or sometimes it changes, into the patterns, it moves. So when I started to create examples of what I was going to present to DCL, I created, I think, a template of about 12 pieces, and they crossed over from the foliage to the fauna, to marine life and culture. And today, what you're experiencing is that ensemble. And during the process of creating that ensemble, I played music throughout the whole time. So I was dancing throughout the whole process while I was creating the piece. So I hope that you get that rhythm, the rhythm of our Jalkuni music, songwriting, storytelling, and also the vibrancy of the environment, the colors that you would come upon that is now permanently sketched into Lookout Cay. So when I came off the ship also on Friday, I was very, very humbled and excited and just ecstatic about the whole outcome of seeing it from the walking on the deck, going towards it. It seems like it's like I was just, it was a dream that I had seen or was imagining, and then all of a sudden I was walking into it. And as I was walking along the pier, hearing the music being transformed into instrumental reminds me of the process that I took in creating the paintings. You know, it was just a beautiful. And as I walked out of the pier and I approached the painting that I called, or that's called All Season, I was just amazed of how the presentation, how it impacted my visual and the first impression of all that we have done together. Working with Mr. Thomas, he has been wonderful. He has been very flexible. They give me a open policy on just create, just great color. You know, be free and don't feel pressured about anything. So here we are, and I thank DCL for this wonderful, wonderful experience.
Thank you for that, Dorman. Your work really does give the destination so much character, and it's interesting that you talk about music, because there is a kind of rhythm to your work, I think, that gives the site life, and that's a perfect segue to talk to Victor. As you guys were on property yesterday, you may have heard this very vibrant, fun, but also relaxing background music soundtracks yesterday while you explored Disney Lookout Cay. Victor, can you share what it went into creating the music that you helped to provide for some of the experiences at Disney Lookout Cay, Lighthouse Point? And in particular, my understanding is that you've taken some Disney classics and had an opportunity to remix some of them with a Bahamian flair to them. Talk a little bit about that.
There's a lot to talk about with that. So first of all, being a young Bahamian music producer and coming behind the great Disney arrangers that have been around for years, my first question to Disney is like, what do you want me to do? These songs are perfect already. And so the task that I had to do was basically make a perfect song, another perfect song. You know, and what was very comforting, speaking with the Disney team and getting guidance from them, they were like, you know what, similar to what Dorman said, is like, just be you. We want you, we want your work, your Bahamianism, your culture. And that's what I was able to bring into some of the already perfect Disney classics. And I think in the process of that, aside from Jonkanu, we have a lot of other subgenres that are part of our culture. You know, we call them Kumbe, includes Calypso, Jonkanu, Rake and Scrape, one of the songs that I actually produced, the Chippendale theme song, that was turned into a Rake and Scrape song. And being a part of the project and seeing outside of the music how Disney was very meticulous and very intentional about preserving the culture outside of the marine life and the agriculture. I had to bring the spirit of the people, because you can see what Disney has preserved. But now it was my job to kind of preserve the energy and the spirit of what our Bahamian music brings, our culture brings. And talked about how they went to the Jonkanu Shack and they could feel the drums on Bay Street. I had to kind of bring that kind of Bay Street life, that Jonkanu parade, that excitement, and that stuff that want to make you dance and boogie. I was watching Dorman dance last night on the deck. Great time. Bring that to the music, and just so when you hear it, you feel our heart. You know, the pulse of the music, the pulse of the Bahamian people in every beat of the drum and every blow of the horn. That was what was important to me in doing this project, and I had a great time. I learned a lot about myself as well during that time as a Bahamian. Yeah. So proud to be here.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Victor. I mean, yeah. I think in a lot of ways, I don't know if y'all see me, I cannot contain my smile here. Some of these folks I've only known for a short time. Others like Victor I've known for quite some time. And it's a really proud moment for us to be here. And I think it is the care and the tenderness with which the Disney team has worked with our Bahamian creatives to bring the destination to life. That makes it feel warm for us, and it makes us feel proud. So everything from the design and architecture, to the food and beverage, the entertainment, the experiences, we really wanted to immerse our guests in a taste of the Bahamas, and I hope you recognize that through your visit yesterday, but also through the conversations today. So I'm going to take this time now to open it up for questions, if you have any for our panelists.
Maybe you can just say your name and your outlet.
Good morning, I'm Lou Mongello from WW Radio. And in the relatively short amount of time we had on the island, I found it wonderfully overwhelming. And there was this amazing energy as well, I think very distinct from a place like Castaway Cay. And I sort of felt that there was a little bit of what I think Disney does in the parks, this idea of edutainment. We were being entertained, but we were learning a lot along the way. And like Alani, it's authentically Bahamian first with just a little bit of Disney sprinkled on top. But for anybody on the panel, what do you want us as guests to think and feel and remember as we board the ship again and we sort of literally and figuratively sort of look back on Lookout Cay? What do you want us to sort of take away and feel from our experience?
Can I toss that to Kevin Thomas first, and then we can,
I'm glad you perceived that, because that was the goal. We thought about like how many people are going to be experiencing the Bahamas for the first time, coming from around the world, the journey here, and what can they take back? And not only that group, but also those that have experienced the Bahamas and other destinations prior to this visit. And we wanted to give a very unique experience to that. And so it was important to us to make sure that we truly understood what the story that we're trying to tell. And we as Imagineers pride ourselves on storytelling. But in this way, we're not putting you into a fictitious place. We're not setting you into a different time. It's here and now, and celebrating what we have to work with and trying to tell that. So the goal, I think, is for people to walk away with a thirst perhaps to come back, or to maybe expand upon what they may have learned a little bit about. Perhaps it's the 5 indigenous characters that we've exposed. What is that curly-tailed lizard? Let me learn a little bit more about them. Things like that. And we tried to integrate them into the story. So a great storytelling element would be at the Rush Out, Gush Out water play area, which is a celebration of Junkanoo. It is a Junkanoo shack. And so what we're trying to do is tell that story. I think somebody referenced earlier about how the magic is made within the Junkanoo shack, and people celebrate it afterwards. But if you look at each of these characters, the bronze characters that exist around that shack, they're each contributing in some fashion. The crab, Shelley, is cutting doing the fraying of some of the materials that you would see on a Junkanoo headdress or something that's performed. You've got some that are beating on the drums. You've got others that are holding the cowbell. So in different ways are all contributing. And to us, that was a story of collaboration, which is very much what I got out of my experiences in learning more about Junkanoo. And so I think little stories like that, and there's so many more, that's just one example, would be what we hope guests can kind of take away and maybe want to learn a little bit more about.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Morning.
You're looking good up there. Everybody give them a round of applause. Yes. I just want to congratulate you on your success. And I know we've been seeing everyone on the ship. And you, young man, the artist, you remind me of a young James Baldwin. Just in your speech. And yes, I mean, you're just really elegant like that. And you're talking about your artistry and so forth. So did you always know you wanted to be an artist?
Yes, since I do myself.
Wait, which one? Who we talking? Victor?
No, I'm talking, this is James Baldwin, you Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? So we on James right now, we on Tammy right now, we going on Tammy.
Yes, since an early age, since I was, 4 or 5 years old, I used to always be drawn to crayon books, and used to look at the newspaper for inspiration. So I started off painting or drawing portraits in pencil, black and white. And I always found myself sitting on the porch, sketching the neighbor's house, or as my neighbors, my friends played in hopscotch and shooting marbles, I would be on the porch sketching their various activities. So yes, from a very early age, I have been artistically engaged, always observing, always looking forward to the next day, and also examining what is the mood of the day, whether it's rainy, overcast, is it a sunny day, and if it's a sunny day, I had a propensity for flying kites. I love flying kites, so I used to tear out my notebook pages and I would fold them up and create cubies. We call them cubies, and just let it fly into the sky and see the action of the white against the blue always brought me great joy.
Thank you, thank you. I know I wanted to be a journalist. My mother told me if you write on one more thing, okay? Enough is enough. But again, congratulations on your success. And one other thing, I had the Lookout Cay. How did that name come about? Does anyone know how the Lookout Cay name came about?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So obviously, that beach was known as Lighthouse Beach for some time, and that name has significance to the people of Eleuthera, as well as to people of the Bahamas. But I think when you step at Disney Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point, what you get is this beautiful vista, right? An ability to look out into the world. And Disney Lookout Cay is placed really interestingly in the geography of the Bahamas. It is the southernmost point in Eleuthera, but it sits between the Atlantic Ocean, right? Because if you go east from there, your next stop is basically the continent of Africa. And if you go west of there, you are in the archipelago of the Bahamas, right? And I think as we thought about it and consulted around it, it was an opportunity for us to say that standing at Lighthouse Point Beach was an opportunity for you to look out into the beauty and the wonder of the Bahamas, where the seas meet, right? Where old world meets new, but also I think there is some significance around looking out into Bahamian culture as well, and as an opportunity for it to be a window into the beautiful, vibrant heritage and culture of the Bahamas. And that's, I think, where we landed on the name. Yeah? Yeah?
Yes.
Good.
Glad I have my Apple Watch today and these steps.
Hi, I'm Brittany Crucial with Travel Market Report. Thank you for being here. I was really curious about the development of that symbol you see everywhere, the black, red, and yellow symbol of Lookout Cay, and what the meaning was behind that and the inspiration behind that.
And the Drunken Mickey.
So I can take that one. So that was, it's a photo backdrop that we have, and it was an attempt, and I think very successfully achieved, of integration between the Disney IP and Junkanoo. And so again, as stated previously, it's about the Bahamian experience, but told by Disney. And as a Disney Cruise Line guest, I think everyone has a certain level of expectation in terms of the quality of experiences they're going to have, and then also to be introduced to our characters and so on and so forth. And so we didn't want to lose sight of that, and this is one of those ways that we felt comfortable in infusing some of the Disney experience into it, the kind of a collaboration there. And so that is a photo backdrop that is inspired by Junkanoo, very much so. And one of the things is the Junkanoo materials that are used to perform the rush outs on the 2 days that was explained to us previously, unfortunately don't last in the weather. There's a lot of crepe paper, cardboard, glue. They're beautiful, absolutely beautiful, but they don't last. And so as you can imagine, being exposed in the weather conditions that we would have in sunlight, things would fade and just not. So we had to come up with ways to represent that same spirit, but in a way that was going to be sustainable over a long period of time. And so that's what we've really tried to do with that one, still giving it dimension and still giving it the vivid colors and texture, but in a way that is definitely more sustainable.
Yeah. And just to add, I mean, you've seen this version of it, right? But we have a similar kind of design for all of the friends, right? And so you've seen the red and black one, but there will be others, and you may have seen versions of them in the merchandise stores on the t-shirts, right? I think what's also really interesting, and one of the reasons why I wanted to bring NJC into conversation with Disney is for that very reason. We know our Imagineers are inventive around materials, about bringing things to life that may exist in one way. And what is magical about Junkanoo, and Andrew can talk a little bit about this, is that those intricate costumes that you see are made from cardboard, crepe paper, metal wire, feathers, right? And are all handmade by the Junkanoos, right? And so one of the things that we were really interested in is how can we take the aesthetic of Junkanoo, the textures, the feeling of it, and make it more permanent, because yes, we have it at Disney Lookout Cay, but we celebrate Junkanoo everywhere, right? In Nassau and other. So talk a little bit about, I think Andrew, now I'm asking the questions. Andrew, talk a little bit about how you see perhaps, the conversation continuing with Disney in that space. Because you're right, Kevin is right, our costumes for Junkanoo are not built for longevity, yeah?
No, it isn't, and that piece that you spoke about, we call Junkanoo, sorry. Okay, thank you. Yes, as I was saying, Junkanoo. Yeah, that's better?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, as I was saying, that piece that you spoke about, and in Junkanoo, I specifically used the word piece because that's what we call our costumes. You heard the word shacks. A shack is a community, basically a structure where Junkanoo costumes are created. And what we tried to do was to emphasize that you had to get in the shack and find whatever materials. When Junkanoo first started, it was whatever it was sponge, it was the tree leaf, it was whatever would make a costume. And it has evolved today into what you have now seen and at the parade yesterday. But the actual parade, the Junkanoo's most spectacular thing that you would ever imagine, that creatives, we call ourselves Junkanoos, we go into the shack and you would have to start from cardboard, just from a brown piece of cardboard that is painted white. Structure has to be put to it, whether it's going to be someone looking like my friend here, the art, that's the character that you want. You want to form the headpiece, you want to form and bring it to life using the tools that we have, just basically glue. Elmer's glue sells, I think, more Elmer's glue sells in the Bahamas than anywhere in the world. Along with contact, putting it together, wire to tie and form and shape what you will see. And then what is really unique about it, what brings Junkanoo, is that how the costume is cased. It's used, crepe paper. It can't, and it's not, the sad thing about it is that we say Junkanoo is not a rain event. Generally, if you were to come to the Bahamas and a junk parade is being put on, it has to be postponed because literally, this is working that I'll show some things on this one. But literally, what you have, we have to postpone it because it's gonna run. The colors would run. So what Disney has done, we've asked Disney to assist us with that. Seeing something like that, because there are rules and criteria for what a costume would really be, is impossible to really put that on the parade. But I saw it and I was like, wow, I wish that could be a banner. Because it's what we've been fighting for, so that the elements won't affect the parade. And we've sat with them. They've asked some of the techniques. I saw something yesterday at the craft center where it's a double-sided crepe paper. And I'm like, wait, where did you get that from? and to the point where it's more or less like it's a shroud of secrecy, because it starts with someone trying to research a theme. And if the Junkanoo starts from the beginning straight to the back, the music, the costumes, everything is depicting that theme. And so you don't want the other groups to know what your theme is until like the last time, because you don't want to know you're competing, right? So when I see these new innovative techniques at Disney, I'm like, hey, hold on, let me hold it. but it's something, the synergy with Disney. We see it. From the NJC when we saw it, we've tried. We've spoken to them about doing workshops with Junior Junkanoo, and really we can see where technology plays a part in the parade that's been going on for hundreds of years, right? And I thank Disney for that. But more importantly, the fact that what you get, that beat, right? Persons can see it. If we're in a conversation and the Junkanoo roll over, what we call it, you just had a boom. Boom, boom, boom. That conversation is going to stop.
Done.
Yes. Right? That's going to stop and say, what is that? right? And that is what Junkanoo does, is really the essence of us celebrating our tradition of culture, artistry, all right, music, and dance, bringing it to life. The funny thing about it is, there are things that have gone on for so long, and Disney's been to Bay Street more than anyone else.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, you could imagine costumes depicting the Lion King. There's been Disney's been on Bay Street. The songs, I mean, it's just there. All right, it's there, and that is something that you have to really experience to see it in a live performance. You know.
I think one of the key connections is that Junkanoo is a storytelling mechanism, right?
Most certainly.
Costume, the music, everything themed, right? Once that's chosen. And what do we do at Disney if not tell stories consistently in everything that we do? Try to really dive deep into those stories and be intentional about telling those stories.
Yes, and we spoke about that. We spoke about that's the synergy that really was used. In that, the smallest child, if they're able to identify the theme of a parade, more than likely, that group is going to win the parade.
We will be around to answer more questions as we wrap up. We know that we are also about to hear what is not Junkanoo in a second, and so we want to close up. But I would really like to thank our panelists today for their passion, for everything that they've invested in Disney Lookout Cay. And I am so excited to see the lasting impact of the work each of you've done to bring the destination to life for Disney Cruise Line guests. Thank you so much, and let's give our panelists a round of applause.